Operations Division. We have multiple divisions within CAAM, and for flight operations, we look into a low category drone race and also medium category drone race. If we are looking into items such as if you want to do air taxi, or your drone is more than 3 meters and things like that, maybe there is possibility we would look into approval from other divisions such as airworthiness and also aerodrome and ground aids. Okay, that's just a brief introduction. You don't have to remember that. I want to say that let's have an informal discussion today. At any time, I know Shukran said that let's hold the questions at the end of the presentation, but just in case you have any questions, please just jump in. If not, it will be a bit too dry or technical. Okay? Alright. So, let's start off with the agencies that has legislations on drones. I will not dig deeper into all of their legislations because JUPAM is also here, CRIM is also here. But as an overview, these are the agencies that has legislations on drone. Firstly, it's CRIM, MCMC, JUPAM, CGSO, Wisma Tanah dan Ukur Sabah, and also Office and Premier of Sarawak. Okay, so any electronic equipment that comes into Malaysia would obviously require to have a CRIM standard. Then after, MCMC will regulate the frequency. Can anybody tell me, if anybody knows, what is actually these 3 frequencies? So since you guys will be asking the question, let me ask you guys questions too. So those guys who are here who knows this answer, please tell me. The guys who just entered the room actually would know this answer. Any idea? 433, 435, 2425, 5725, and 5875. Do you know what are these frequencies? Okay, these frequencies are actually frequencies given by MCMC that already has class assignment onto drones. That means they have already assigned for drones to usually or normalize use these particular drones. However, if you want to use a different frequency, you may do so. You may ask from MCMC and apply for an apparatus assignment. What is it called? Apparatus assignment. So with an apparatus assignment, maybe you can secure on a different frequency, or you can also go for a different range because your frequency will obviously determine your line of sight. Okay. So next is your is JUPAM. So JUPAM has a few functions here. Can everybody read the slide, or would you like me to read it for you? Tak nampak? Okay, no problem. So what JUPAM do is actually, if the UA is capable of undertaking surveillance and measuring activities such as aerial photo, aerial mapping, LiDAR, and etc., then the US operator must seek an approval from Department of Survey and Mapping, Malaysia Satu DIFA. The Department of Survey and Mapping's responsibility to also extend to liaising with CGSO, Chief Government Security Office, which looks into the sasaran penting and also kawasan larangan tempat larangan. Hands up for people who don't know what SP and KLTL, or what am I talking about? Okay, one guy, so I don't have to explain, only one guy don't know. So, do you guys know what is sasaran penting and kawasan larangan tempat larangan? Tahu? Yes, okay. It is, sasaran penting is actually areas that if there is a threat that happens to that place, then there would be macam Malaysia akan what is it called?
Can also make a big damage to Malaysia.
Yeah, can make a damage to Malaysia. Kawasan larangan, tempat larangan is also which they are also critical infrastructures to Malaysia. Okay. Next, there is Wisma Tanah dan Ukur Sabah and also Office of Premier of Sarawak. So these are only applicable if you are flying or operating out of Sabah and Sarawak. Okay, next, there is also we included in our Jawatan Kuasa Unmanned Aircraft System, JAKWAS, also LRMP for agricultural US purposes, and also CAAM. CAAM, we are in charge of reviewing and ensuring the safety and security of US operations by issuing out several approvals. We'll look into the approvals later on. Okay. So far, any questions on the JAKWAS? Okay, so these are all agencies that has legislations on unmanned aircraft system. What we do is we pull them all together. So when it becomes slightly complex operations, we will actually hold a meeting together, CRAAM, MCMC, and also Japan. Okay, so again, this is just a recap on who the JAQUAS is. Okay, these are the types of approval actually issued by CAAM. Everybody only say permit, permit, permit. Okay, usually when they say permit, they are talking about this, an authorization to fly. It is when it is a low risk, okay, drone less than 20 kilograms, flown within visual line of sight, there is no spraying or dispensation. How we do it is we only require you to do or fill out a risk assessment. There is no competency required. You do not have to go to an RPTO and get an RCOCB to do a just simple mapping, to do a simple surveillance and things like that. You will only require to apply for an authorization to fly, applicable for VLOS and EVLOS. Okay. Next, there is also a certificate of approval. We issue certificate of approval to sekolah, to the schools that wants to become an RPTO. So the RPTO are allowed to teach. Sorry, my intern is here. Hi, my ex-intern. RCOCB. RCOCB means Remote Pilot Certificate of Competency Basic. What they are allowed to do is they are allowed to, what this RCOCB is allowed to do is they are the minimum competency requirement for special US project. Anybody knows what special US project here? Anybody have heard of special US project? Have not heard? Can you put up your hand? Okay, thank you. We'll try and cover that later. Okay. RCOCB is also the minimum requirement for if you want to do agricultural work. Okay. Paired with this RCOCB, there is two modules. Module 1 is on EVLOS. Module 2 is for agriculture. So if you want to do EVLOS operations, you must have RCOC Basic plus Module 1. If you want to do agriculture work, that is RCOC Basic plus Module 2. I think that's quite easy and straightforward. But again, so my question is, do you require RCOCB if you want to just apply for an authorization to fly? No. Okay. I agree, you don't need it because CAAM will evaluate the competency only via your risk assessment. Okay? The competency or RCOCB is required only for this aerial work certificate or special US project. Okay, now aerial work certificate, the reason why we actually are attending this first 30 minutes briefing. So it is for agricultural US operations. What do we define agricultural US operations? It is if it is dispensing agricultural payload. And another one is if you are engaging in dispensing agricultural payload and also surveillance activities directly affecting agriculture, horticulture, forest preservation, but not including the dispensing of live insect. So people ask me, Akila, I want to do agricultural work. Can I also do surveillance activity? I just want to do, I want to do mapping and things like that. I want to know what is the updated of my ladang and things like that. Can you do it under an AWC? Didn't get my question. Okay, I will repeat my question. So before I repeat my question, I'll explain this again. Aerial work certificate is a grant given to an organization and it lasts for a year. You are allowed to do dispensation and also you are allowed to do surveillance activity. Okay? So it is not hanya untuk pembajaan ataupun pembenihan sahaja. It is also for you nak buat mapping, nak buat surveillance, also included inside that. Okay. Any questions on EWC then? Okay. Yes.
So that's how you mentioned surveillance.
Yes.
And untuk the payload. How about if you attach like some payload speaker to prevent any intrusions? So let's say because on top of civilians, there are potential like intrusions coming to your premise or your area or your ladang. So you want to technically deter them. Maybe you put a speaker. So does it cover under this?
Okay. Oh, I tanya dulu. So it says that surveillance activities directly affecting agriculture, horticulture, or forest preservation, but not including the dispensation of license. So does this loudspeaker and saying please don't come in, this is a private landed property, is that inclusive of that item?
Kalau term human in life insect tu.
No, it says that you cannot dispense live insect. Okay, so I don't think it is within the scope, but I don't think CM has actually thought about it before. So maybe write in, and then we'll give it a thought, and then we'll discuss. You must understand that the US unit is actually very in an infancy stage. That means we are only a few years old, so we are open to suggestions. So like what he was asking, I think that's actually good. We never thought about it, and I understand why some people would want to do it. So just write in, and then we'll let you know. A lot of familiar faces now. I'm starting to get a bit shy. Okay, let's continue. Next one is Special US Project. Special US Project is pretty much when the operation involves carriage of dangerous goods, drone delivery, or research and development, or beyond visual line of sight operations, okay? Or any other operations that would require support activity from CAAM because of the additional risk it involves. Okay. Any questions so far on this slide? Yes. Everybody can hear? Okay.
So from the angle, if we apply for ATF, which is normally people refer to the BLOS, but what happened, there are some circumstances where how we operate it extends to EB-LOS.
Yeah.
So how can we ensure that whatever that authorization that we were given is still within that ATF, or we need to have another arrangement to extend it and consider it part of that EB-LOS?
No, we accept the BLOS and EB-LOS in ATF. That's the question, right? So can we do EB-LOS in an ATF? Yes, maybe we can. Thank you. Anything else? Okay.
Questions? For area work such as
photography or videography, do we need area work certificate? Because considered it's type of work.
Okay, so her question is for aerial work to do
Photography
or videography.
Yes.
Do you require a certificate?
Yes.
Okay, you would require an ATF, considering if this videography and photography is actually done within a visual line of sight or EB-LOS. Okay, so a simple assessment would suffice. Okay? Yes.
Does this cover recreational flying also?
Okay, good question. When we run through the regulations, you will be able to see if it actually covers recreational or not. Okay, so I don't want to answer that one yet. So when we run through the recreational, then we will somewhat understand the whole concept together.
Another question.
Yeah.
So for ATF, we clearly stated that one of our duties is for emergency.
Okay.
So if let's say the emergency happens or occur during the night, which is beyond that normally that we allow for videos, so it's still acceptable, or
I don't understand the question.
for in the case of emergency happens during the night, which
Because
is
of emergency, it happens during the night.
Yeah.
Your application when you operate, was
Within
it
daylight.
Within daylight. Okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
So the need for us to immediately deploy our drone, so it considered is authorized or
Okay. So obviously now it becomes it's no longer in the scope of what you applied for. What you applied for originally was actually visual line of sight during the day, but now because of an emergency, you are requesting to fly at night, and you can't. Was it VLOS or BBLOS? VLOS at night. So you could actually apply and ask for VLOS at night. What was the issue?
But at night is always beyond vision.
No,
There's no-
not exactly. You can also have it, you can be able to see the drone and know where the drone is even at night if you have proper lighting and things like that. It's not an issue. It doesn't automatically mean that if it is at night, it means you're beyond visual sight.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Okay?
For BV laws under special projects and R&D, which team and how do we go about applying?
Okay.
Is it all done online? Is this?
Application?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is all online. Okay. So
So
he's
the-
asking what is the application process for a special US project. I will cover that on the second session. So please stay on and we'll look into that.
After lunch.
No, I'm not sure what time do we start just now. In another 20 minutes
Okay,
or so.
alright, thanks.
The next session.
Okay, great.
Right? Okay, no more question. So I'll go to the next slide. Okay, yes.
As Florida and as foreign company, we able to apply.
Can.
Any,
No problem.
Okay.
Did it cover the passenger also?
Okay, so the passenger drones are not covered in these items. Okay, so the passenger drones would have to be discussed at a later stage because the requirements and the regulations, even in other countries, it has not yet been set. The framework itself is still in discussion. So it will probably be under a certified category and it would require certification of the pilots, license of the pilots, certification of the organization and also the vehicle itself. Okay, same as what is required by manned aircraft right now. Okay, so it's not under this yet. Okay. So now let's have a look at the legal framework in Malaysia. So we actually get our punca kuasa from Act 3 in Civil Aviation Act 1969. Okay, then after it gave the power to the minister to create regulation that is in line with the Chicago Convention. And also within the Act, it gave power to the CEO to come up with directives. So back in March 2021, we came up with 3 directives, which we will discuss later on. But now, let's review the regulation first. MCA 2016. Okay, so the current US regulations in Civil Aviation Regulation 2016 is written within 140 to 144. So let's have a look at 140. It says there, unmanned aircraft system, no person shall fly an unmanned aircraft system in class A, B, C or G airspace within aerodrome traffic zone at a height of more than 400 feet above the surface of the earth, unless authorized by the Director General. This one is already updated to the authority and shall be subjected to the requirements as may be determined by the CEO. Okay, so now, if you have a look here, there is actually an extract from our AIP which has classifications of the airspace. Point to ponder here is that the classification is A, B, C and G airspace actually covers the whole airspace of Malaysia. Okay, so if we read 140, it says clearly, no person shall fly an unmanned aircraft system in class A, B, C, G airspace of whatever height, because it says here uncontrolled airspace itself is below 250, and then these 3 are actually controlled airspace, and it starts from ground to sea all the way up to 460. So generally, what it means is even if you would like to fly 1 inch above the ground, you would require an approval from CAAM, inclusive of recreational. Okay? Now, let's look at regulation 141, aerial work. Aerial work involving unmanned aircraft system. This is actually a very straightforward. No person shall fly an unmanned aircraft system for the purpose of aerial work without the authorization from the authority. An application for the authorization shall be made to the Director General in accordance with Regulation 189. Okay, very straightforward. Next, small unmanned aircraft. this regulation for small unmanned aircraft, the one that actually the main part is this part. And it says that the person in charge of a small unmanned aircraft shall maintain direct and unaided visual contact with small unmanned aircraft sufficient to monitor its flight path in relation to other aircraft, person, vehicle, vessels and structure for the purpose of avoiding collision. So in general, it is trying to say that a drone that is less than 20 kilograms must be flown within visual line of sight. Okay? So that's the definition of a small unmanned aircraft. I'll give you a few seconds to read through.
Okay. So, related to my question just now, flying at night, which is because it has VLOS. So, the definition of VLOS, if you can see the blinking indicator or you want to see the drone itself.
You can, okay. Are you able to make collision avoidance? Are you able to maneuver the drone?
Should be.
Then that's sufficient.
Okay.
Okay.
When will the 20 be 25?
Well, okay, good question. So he's asking, when will the 20 be 25? Okay, that's a very good question. The 25 will come when we amend the regulation. With the new regulation, the 25 will be introduced, and also there is an open category will be introduced. Okay, that would solve the recreational, or actually it's no longer recreational or higher reward. Everything that is low risk would be under open category. Okay.
Is there a timeline for that?
We are also waiting together with the UTM system. It has to go in hand.
Yeah.
Right? Yes.
I would like to ask a question on the part that you say that you might be on the ground that still need okay. When you look back at the Jet 13, Jet 11, or air service,
Okay.
part, you mentioned that lower
C11
ground,
is it?
yeah, C11 and 13 as well. Okay, it's talk about the lower ground will be start to 700. So which part of it that comes to work that 1 inch is under?
Okay. So it's generally here because it says that no person shall fly an unmanned aircraft system class A, B, C, or G airspace unless authorized by the authority. So we all know that our whole airspace is either A, B, C, or G. So it is covering the whole airspace. So if you want to utilize any part of the Malaysian airspace, which is A, B, C, or G, and the regulation actually covered everything. If it says A, B, C, then it makes sense that we are actually allowed to use G without an approval. But it actually says all the airspace in Malaysia will require an approval. So that's
This height is given from mean sea level or from elevation? The height. 460 and 250 and all those. Is it from mean sea level or is it elevation from wherever you
I
fly?
actually have no clue. Anybody knows? The AIP, is it based on mean sea level or ground level? AGL? Okay, the guy says AGL, but I can't remember. That's what they say. They say AGL.
AGM.
Yeah. I'm not sure. That's what they say. Okay. Right?
Once you take off from somewhere and there's a hill coming in, you can go even higher.
Okay. Next, Regulation 143, small unmanned surveillance aircraft. No person shall fly a small unmanned surveillance aircraft in any of the following circumstances without the authorization from the authority. So, these are the list. I'll give you a few seconds to review. Okay, right? Regulation 144, unmanned aircraft system of more than 20 kilograms.
No person shall fly an unmanned aircraft system having a mass of more than 20 kilograms without its fuel, without the authorization from the Director General. It is just to highlight that if you're flying a drone that is more than 20 kilograms, you must get an approval from the authority. But if we look again at Regulation 140, it clearly stated if you're flying a drone of whatever weight, of whatever height, or whatever operations that you want to do, you must get an approval from the authority anyway. Okay? Next. So this is a penalty. My friends reminded me to tell everybody here that what are the penalty. So the penalty here, it is for Regulation 142, the one that is about visual line of sight. It is here, Part B, it is 25,000 ringgit or to imprisonment for a term exceeding 1 year or to both, or where the person is body corporate, to a fine not exceeding 80,000 ringgit. For Part C, for 140 to 141, 143 and 144, it falls under Part C. So that is 50,000 ringgit or a term not exceeding 3 years or to both, or if it is a body corporate, a fine not exceeding 100,000 ringgit. Okay, so this one is a CAD that we issued out sometime in 1st March 2021. The 3 CADs, number 1 is an RPTO, for Part 2 is agriculture, and Part 5 is special US project. As you realize, there is actually still missing CADs in between. There is Part 3, Part 4, and also the main series for the CAD. The CAD 6011, which is the main one itself, or what we call the CAD 601 Father, it is not out yet. It will only be out when the UTM and also when the regulation is out. So in there would be explanations, there would be directive, and also a guidance material explaining open, specific, and certified category. Okay. On top of that, there is also Part 3, which would speak about swarm operations in visual line of sight. So this would also cater for those drone shows. And also Part 4, it will talk about standard scenario. Can I have a show of hand, anybody knows what is a standard scenario? Show of hand, people who know. Standard scenario. Elsa and Zahin. Yes. Okay, alright, thank you. Okay, so we've reviewed this type of approval. So now, I am entering this, okay? This one, I want you to choose, because now we've discussed about the current US regulation. You know who actually has legislations on drones and what type of approval CM issues out. So I am opening it to you guys now to choose which topic you want me to cover apart from agricultural US operations. Because I do know that we'll cover this one later. So, type of approval, we've covered that already. Okay, UTM and future. Okay, alright. No problem. So, I cover agriculture briefly because that's what our main agenda is. Then we enter future US regulations and UTM. Okay? And then for the second session, I'm guessing we'll finish it with special US project. Okay. I minum air sekejap.